on Deck Circle, powered by Dow Corning.
Hey, my name is Jared Sandler, and this is the Loons on Deck Circle, powered by Dow Corning pregame show. Thank you to all of you who are in attendance. Welcome to Dow Diamond. For those of you listening online, thanks for joining us either on ESPN 100.9 FM's website, the TuneIn radio app, or through 100.9 FM, the traditional way. Thanks for tuning in and joining us for tonight's game. Tonight, the Great Lakes Loons meet the Lansing Lugnuts for the first game of a 3-game series and Game 5 of a 7-game homestand. It's a Mid-Michigan Health Michigan Legends Series. We got a couple of very special guests with us tonight, and they'll be joining us momentarily. Former Michigan State head coach Judd Heathcote and Greg Kelser, former Michigan State Spartan basketball player, both a part of the 1979 national championship team for the Spartans. The Loons wrapped up their 4-game series against the Fort Wayne Tin Caps yesterday. They had an opportunity to even up a 4-game series, 2 games apiece. It didn't go their way. They ended up falling to the Tin Caps 4-2. But one bright spot for the Loons, the play of catcher Jose Capion. 1 game removed from his franchise-tying 6 RBI contest, the Loons starting catcher hit his first home run of the season. It was a drive that brought the Loons to within 2. A solo shot that left the left field wall, and Capion hit his first home run of the year, but one of the few bright spots in what was a 4-2 loss for the Loons. Fortunately for the Loons, the Dayton Dragons also lost. They fell to West Michigan, so the Loons maintained their game-and-a-half lead over Dayton for the final playoff berth in the Eastern Division. The Bowling Green Hot Rods did win, so they're now 2.5 games up on the Loons in the battle for the top seed. Zach Bird takes the mound today for Great Lakes. The 6'4" righty out of Jackson, Mississippi, makes his second start since returning to the squad after a stint in Ogden. Going for Lansing, it's righty Eric Brown. This is his 5th appearance and his 3rd start. He's a 6'1" native of Thunder Bay, Ontario. With last night's loss, the Dodgers affiliate, Great Lakes, now 59-68, 32-25 in the second half. The Lugnuts won their series finale against Lake County thanks to a 6-run 7th inning, which broke a scoreless tie. The Blue Jays affiliate, now 56-71 overall, 24-34 in the second half. We'll get to more Loons baseball in a second, though. Joining us right now, a couple of Michigan State legends, former Spartans head basketball coach Judd Heathcote, former player Greg Kelser. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Dow Diamond. We spoke a little bit ago. I'll try to ask some different questions right now. But, Coach, I spoke to you about your baseball playing days. We'll get to that in a second. Greg, did you play baseball back in the day, and were you a good ball player?
I'd like to think I was. I did play baseball, but that was in grade school. And then when I started to grow, it became obvious that basketball was going to be my sport. So that's where baseball took us a backseat.
What position did you play?
I pitched and played first base.
Okay, that makes sense. There's some 6'7" pitchers in first base.
I wasn't always 6'7", though.
You weren't born 6'7"?
Not quite.
Okay. Coach, now you said you played some baseball back in the day, and you weren't a bad ball player yourself.
I played a lot of baseball, Jared. I played at college. I played in high school. In fact, our high school team won 41 straight games. I was the only guy that played every inning of that streak. We had the record for a long time. And then I played 3 years in the summer league in Anchorage, Alaska with all the college kids, and I held my own. So I still remember the guy that signed Ron Santo told me I was the best catcher he ever saw in high school. I think he was retarded. I'm not sure.
Coach, talking about his baseball playing days, Greg, your first coach at Michigan State was Gus Ganakis. I'm just curious, Judd Heathcote did not bring you to Michigan State, so what was your first impression of Coach when you got to East Lansing?
Don't tell him.
Well, Coach Heathcote and Coach Ganakis are both fine coaches, no doubt about that, but their ways and methods differ vastly. Coach Heathcote was constantly pushing guys to reach their potential. Not to say that Coach Ganakis was a softie. He wasn't. He had his ways of motivating too, but Coach Heathcote really made you pay attention to every single detail. And I'm thankful for that because not only were we able to become champions as a result of that mindset and that philosophy, there are things that I learned during that time that are very important in my life now that basketball is no longer a part of it as a player.
And Coach, what was your first impression of Greg when you first met him and got to watch him run up and down the court a bit?
Well, you know, I made the comment once that Gregory can run and jump and shoot, but he can't play basketball. You know, I always thought that, you know, he needed work on the fundamentals, but he worked and worked and worked and got better and better. I still remember we used to get the kids summer jobs, and Gregory had a job at the telephone company, and he said, you know, I'm not going to work that job because I need to spend the time working on my game this summer. That's the kind of dedication he had.
And obviously that work paid off in 1979. Your senior year, Greg, you guys won the national championship. A lot of people here in the building tonight probably remember that. A lot of Spartans fans, I imagine, here. And it's fitting that the Loons are playing a team from Lansing nearby where you guys made your home during your college days, Greg, and Coach, for quite some time for you. What do you guys remember most about that 1979 team and that season that made that journey so special, Coach?
Well, I remember the difficulty we had in the mid-season, and we rallied to win 11 straight games and make it to the NCAA. And then, in all honesty, we kind of waltzed to the title. We never had a really close game of the 5 games we played.
Greg?
Well, the thing for me, and the thing that I still remain most proud of today, is that we won when there was a limited field. Nowadays, you can finish 6th in your conference and still get to the tournament. In 1979, 3 teams finished in a tie for first place in the Big Ten, and only 2 went to the NCAA tournament. The 3rd team that finished in a tie was Purdue, and they went to the NIT. So it was tougher to get in, first off. So you really were playing the best of the best, and we were able to excel in a very small, limited field. I remain proud of that to this day.
So Joe Lunardi wasn't doing his bracketology back then?
There was none of that.
Greg Kelser and Judd Heathcote joining us. And Greg, who is the toughest player that you played against?
My former teammate, Urban Magic Johnson. He's the toughest player I ever played with or against.
And that from, obviously, I imagine in practice you guys went back and forth, but during your NBA career, was it fun playing some of your former teammates like Magic, or was it tough?
It was never easy playing those guys because you had to you had to take the friendship out of it, and that's never an easy thing. And, sometimes you have to dislike your opponent in order to be effective against that opponent, and it was always difficult when you're trying to dislike somebody that you share a kinship with and a bond like Urban and I had, and even Jay Vincent when I played against him. But you have to figure out a way to do it. It's called being a professional, but you have to find a way. I'll tell you another little story, Coach, and this speaks to his acumen as a basketball coach. When we were preparing for Indiana State and Larry Bird, the great Larry Bird, we really had no one on our scouting team to mimic Larry Bird and his tendencies as a player, except a 6'9" point guard in Urban Magic Johnson. So Coach took him off the starting lineup, put him on the second team, the scouting team, and let him play the role of Larry Bird in helping us prepare for that game 2 nights later. And he played a great Larry Bird. In fact, it was much tougher guarding Urban, who was mimicking Larry Bird, than it was Larry Bird on the night of the game.
I know. I've heard those stories about how competitive Larry is, so we won't share that with him. Larry, obviously a tremendous player, Coach. I don't know if it's him or maybe someone else, but who is the toughest player you ever had to scheme against as a coach in terms of just the game plan and trying to shut that player down?
Well, I would say with Joe Barry Carroll at Purdue or Mike Woodson at Indiana. And then you can't discount Isaiah Thomas at Indiana. But there are so many great players in the Big Ten year after year that after 19 years, I could probably list 50 players that were difficult for us to prepare against.
Yeah, a lot of good players have come through, especially in the Midwest. You talk about the national championship season. With all due respect to Connecticut and Butler, I don't know if either team has hit a field goal still to this day from their national championship game a few years ago. And that's not a game that I think a lot of people will really remember. But the 1979 national championship is something that is still talked about to this day, whether it's Indiana State and their undefeated record, the storyline between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Did you guys realize what you guys were a part of in the moment?
Well, not quite. We didn't realize that Larry Bird and Magic Johnson probably saved professional basketball with their rivalry and their success. And we can look back and say that was the start of what happened, but at the time, I don't think we realized it.
And, a lot of people feel like that game ushered in what is now known as March Madness, and the Final Four being what it is. That was one of the last, maybe the second last game ever played in a regular stadium, a regular basketball arena. Now they're played in big giant domes. So the game certainly took on a great deal of significance after that. And I think to a large part of it is the success that Larry and Irvin went on to have as competitors in the NBA. It all started right there in 1979 in Salt Lake City. I, for one, am just very fortunate to have been a part of that game, one that has had such a tremendous shelf life.
Greg, thank you very much for joining us. Coach, thank you for joining us here tonight. Both members of the 1979 Michigan State National Championship team, and hopefully they can bring some of that winning tradition to the Loons side here this evening as the Loons and the Lansing Lugnuts begin game one of a 3-game series. Gentlemen, thanks for sharing all your stories and the time here tonight at Dow Diamond. We got more in the pregame show coming your way as we get you ready for Loons baseball right here from beautiful Dow Diamond.
We'll watch L versus L.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation accepts grant applications year-round. The applications are reviewed by the MBF Grant Committee, which awards grants of various amounts to deserving nonprofit organizations. Through the first 6 seasons, MBF has donated $612,459 through 184 grants to nonprofit organizations representing 14 counties. Fans, please direct your attention to the field as Tyler Kring, representing the Michigan Baseball Foundation, presents representatives of Garber High School Baseball a grant in the amount of $2,000. These funds will be used to enhance the infield of the high school baseball diamond. This grant has been made possible by you, the fans, through your strong support of the Great Lakes Loons and Dow Diamond. Together, we can make a difference in our region, one game at a time. Looking to stretch your wallet? Then join the Loons at Dow Diamond every Thursday home game for Chemical Bank Dollar Family Feast Night. Enjoy hot dogs, 16-ounce Cokes, and ice cream sandwiches, all for just $1 each all night long. Enjoy the same great prices on a brand new night. It's Chemical Bank Dollar Family Feast Night every Thursday home game at Dow Diamond. Tickets start at just $6 and can be purchased by calling 989-837-BALL or by logging on to loons.com. Fans, back for 2013 is the Qdoba Score Big. If the Loons score 6 or more runs and win tonight's game, everyone in the entire stadium will win a free offer courtesy of Qdoba Mexican Grill. So cheer on the Loons to victory and you could score big with Qdoba. Qdoba Mexican Grill, handmade for real. Fans want a chance to win $5,000 courtesy of Miller Lite? Sign up for the Loons' newest promotion, the Miller Lite Grand Slam